Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, back with another Kamihime project video. Sorry, I still haven't figured out how to do anything with this Bluetooth issue, so I'm still using the microphone from the laptop, so I'll probably end up just buying another one. So it's going to take a minute for that one. Because I've been hearing a lot of people mention that, oh, I can't hear you too well or anything like that. Well, I try to speak as close as possible to this in order to actually get my voice out there as loud as possible, but I don't know. But anyways, we have a repeat event coming up, and one that makes me regret a recent decision I did, because to make room for the event SSR weapon that we got from the crossover, I had a Phoenix bow that was not broken at all. I think it was also skill level 11. I ended up getting rid of it. Guess who's back? Phoenix. Well, at least I can get her weapon again if I really want to, but considering that I like using dual weapons over the ones that just have a single ability, then yeah. I mean, if her weapon happens to have pretty much some sort of boost when it gets the last break limit, the final break limit, then who knows? Because they started going back through Advent weapons and started putting some of those with final break. But anyways, this is a very good Adon to actually go after. And she can replace my Barong. I'm not going to get rid of Barong though, because if I get Mana Garmer, I'm going to need Barong. But yeah, this is a very good Adon to actually get, so you might want to do so. Now, going through as usual, like before, this event's a repeat that got some stuff added, so they reset everything. So you should be able to get everything on the list. And we do have Ragnarok in this one. I remember it being quite difficult the last time I was around, but considering how much more powerful I've gotten, yeah. I might be able to do it with my dark team and not flinch too much, but quite frankly, if I throw in my light team, I'm going to just completely destroy it. But yeah, Ragnarok's in this, so be prepared for that. And honestly, if I were to give you a decent power level to start trying to grind ultimate, it would be roughly, I'd say, 30,000 in your attack rating. And that's not including any weapon skills, because if you have weapon skills leveled up, then you might be able to get away with less. It all depends on how strong you really are, but 30,000 is definitely a guarantee. Ragnarok, you want to be at least 40,000. I can say that without a doubt. And you need weapon skills up to at least skill level 10, I'd recommend. But anyways, they have a lot of info here. I'd rather not go through all of this. So I'm going to read from pretty much Ultimate onward. But the thing is, though, this boss can do some debuffing. So you might want to watch for that one. You probably need to use Chaos Magic as well, because it can buff itself. Because from what it's saying, it'll lower your attack power, but also raise its own defense. That's going to extend the fight. You don't want either one of those on, so if you can remove them, do so. And it says it has a decent amount of firepower, like getting hit for 6k, but then again, that's probably without debuffs and all that. Who knows? Ragnarok's definitely going to increase the damage it does, but it says the consecutive attack rate for Phoenix is very high in Ragnarok, so somebody that can lower it might actually be good. I know for the dark side, there's an Adon that does character attack, and I think it's ability damage. If that's the one I'm thinking about, she'll actually give a combo rate down. But who knows, there might be other ways to actually do it too. Because it's a light event, you're going to want to use a dark character if you want the elemental advantage. Otherwise, you shouldn't have no problem using any team that's pretty much the strongest. There's nothing to worry about when it comes to taking increased damage, so That's the biggest thing about these light and dark events. You can pretty much get away with anybody. And it's recommended you have Mordred, definitely. Because she'll increase the debuff rate and then also increase your resistance against debuffs. So that's always welcome for this type of stuff. If not Mordred, maybe Joan, because she would actually protect you against some damage. Because I do remember Phoenix hitting somewhat hard. I'm not fully sure on that. I do have a previous Ragnarok video that might show that. But other than that, it's pretty much the standard stuff. And then somebody that can remove, like, Andromeda doesn't do this because she got the revive skill, but Vivian removes debuffs, and Cassiopeia, she removes buffs from enemies. So be quite honest, if you can get away with it, one of those two with the other having the EX skill would actually help out. Like Vivian with Chaos Magic, or Cassiopeia with whatever Vivian's skill was. I don't remember the name of it. But you need Vivian in order to get Cassiopeia anyway, so I recommend using Cassiopeia over Vivian anyways, because Cassiopeia has a better buff and has a better healing. And there's something interesting about healing, but I'll get to that in a second. But with the darkness side, if you do have these three characters, which is either, I think, Satan or Amon. I think they're both the same frame. If you have Satan or Amon for SSR, if you have Thanatos, then you should be able to I think there's one more. But yeah, Satan and Amon, and then Thanatos. Those three, they're very good dark characters to actually use for this, especially considering that specific combinations of two of them will get you defense down by a large margin. I know Amon herself is a 25% drop. So that's saying something on volumes. But needless to say, you do want to try and get some very powerful defense down. If you don't have them, that's fine. I know there's a couple of darkness characters that are actually pretty good if you got them, but they're in the SR territory, so you probably have to pull for them. I know Neurohotep, I just call her Neurokill off of that one anime. But her and Bastet, they're pretty good too. And they're SR. And naturally Beelzebub if you have her, but she's probably going to get you killed if you time her buffs wrong. So that's the one thing about that. But anyways, we have, of course, Phoenix. We have her bow. And I'm going to double check that and see if it actually gets a second ability. And then this hammer, I've already took a look at it. This hammer is interesting because you get a large defender. Meaning at skill level 20, that is 16% more HP. Typically, these are overlooked. If you don't have any dual skill weapons, I suggest you actually go for this one. Especially because the second ability is one of the first times we've gotten this in an event weapon. The only other time you'll be able to get this is probably through Andromeda's weapons. I know they're from the catastrophe fights, but it has an ascension ability. What that does is increases the recovery amount of your healing abilities. So for instance, say you have Soul in your team, she doesn't have her buffs up and whatever, and she's awakened, she's healing like 1800 plus however many she gets out of the region. Put this weapon on in your grid, you'll start healing for even more than that. And it also stacks with her buff, so it'll really start spiking her stuff. Ascension's the reason why the Pride weapon for light is actually pretty strong. I don't know how well it works with a defender, but then again, if you're trying to pack a lot of HP anyways, you might want to grab this anyway. But that's the whole thing with that. Because believe it or not, as much as people try to say, you do want assault, but you still want some defender. I, for one, don't need this because I have a lot of defender through my dual abilities. I got 60% of it. And then I think I can get more. I'm not sure. Yeah, I got 62% of it now, actually, because I got skill level 20 on the one event weapon. But that's the thing. It's like you need HP and attack. So if you don't have any defender, you definitely want to look at this. If not, then it's up to you. So that's the biggest thing about this. Besides, Ascension is very, very good. Light has a lot of healers. This will boost all their healing. Even for somebody like Bellowbog, whose just regen is like, I think, 250 per turn, she'll start healing for even more. So that's the biggest thing to know about all that. Ascension is now in the game for everybody to pretty much get. If you really want to be honest, I would grind out this weapon anyways and just hold on to it just in case. You never know. Not to mention, I've seen an image before a long time ago where somebody actually did, and this includes the bus from a Union raid, cracked 45,000 HP. So yeah. And to be quite honest, I don't care how much assault you have on there. If you have that much HP, I'm pretty sure you're not getting killed anytime soon. Especially if you have Ascension in there. God forbid you have elixir access. And naturally, one of these weapons is assault. If you want to grind it out, be my guest. But I wouldn't worry too much about it, because we've been getting a lot of light events recently, so if you're a newer player that practically just jumped in, you might want to get one of these. Otherwise, last I checked, we had like 3 light events recently, so maybe more. And then, of course, they have the books. If you want to get them, go ahead. But if you're doing guild order, which I will get into later, the thing about this is that guild order will also give you a few of them. Half elixirs, always go for it because it's more of them. I mean, it is taking a little bit of your resources, but it's not too hard to grind out, especially if you're able to do ultimate. You literally get 20 more of these. The only time you might not have to do it is if you're spamming a gacha. Like in my case, I have 120 something of these. But that's the whole thing with that. Premium tickets always get, because regardless of how low the pool rates are, there still are extra and free chances. So get them if you can. And I say if you can, because it's a nice hefty amount of items you have to get for these. So those that can't clear ultimate might just want to focus on the other stuff first. That's a definite. If you can clear ultimate, you should be able to get these on top of the SSR. Possibly all of them. Soul points if you need it. Personally, though, I wouldn't go past the first batch of them where it's the cheapest. Because the first batch of them, I do believe was, well, I think they just changed how it works anyway, so I think you could just flat out get all of them. I mean, it's 600, but I still got majority from leveling up. We don't have too much use for these right now anyways, because if you're like me and have access to every single soul in the game right now, these are just sitting there. We'll get something to use them for later on down the line, but it's not something to really go out of your way for. Especially since some events just hand them to you. Magic Jewels, you can get up to 3,000. If you want to go for them, be my guest. I've been finding myself not getting around to them because I've been grinding out other stuff, and then I'm playing multiple games and all that, so it really isn't helping my grinding time. So that said, I would go after them, but only if you have nothing else. I mean, they have more value than the gacha tickets, to be quite honest, but there's so many of them. You'll easily get all the gacha tickets before you get all the magic jewels, so that's why I suggest the tickets first. Now, in the case of these little Dragonic Eye Shards, always get them, but you have to be able to clear Ragnarok. So, if you can't clear Ragnarok, don't worry about this. If you can, be sure to do that as much as you can. Especially considering the fact that these Phantom Cores carry over between events, so it's a universal thing. You might save yourself the trouble of grinding them out for one event if you do it enough. And then here's your equipment details again. And yes, that bow does indeed get a final break, so that really helps. It gets a small defender to go with it. So I probably should go after it. I wish I'd known that before. Oh boy. And honestly, Phoenix, like, her attack power isn't too great, her HP's okay. But the reason why she's good is because she gets that abnormality tolerance. And she also helps with 2 elements, not 1. So honestly, now that I'm really looking at her, I could pass on her, but I'm still going to grab as many of her as I can because, again, if I do get Mana Garmer, who's the 100% Idolin for light, then I'm definitely going to need her. Because Mana Garmer's powers is based on how many light Idolins is in your grid. So that's something to know about. Especially considering that we have 2 very, very well sought out things coming into this. But I'll get to them in a second. Now, of course, we have missions. It's the same standard stuff, clear with certain rarities or without elixirs. The interesting thing is clearing ultimate with a water team. Normally, I wouldn't try this. But this is ultimate, so I should be able to handle it. If it's something like, say, clear Ragnarok with a water team, then yeah, I might have problems. And I said that because my water team is still my worst team, period. And if I remember correctly, Thunder's not too far behind them. Now, like I said, we have 2 more characters that's coming in. I'm not even going to show what they can do. Just know that they are very, very, very powerful if you happen to get them. The first one is an Idolin, Anubis. 2 interesting things about her. One, like the Kaiser Dragoons and Sakura Mio, if you happen to have gotten her, she can hit 900 HP, which is the most any Idolin has ever given in the game. But honestly, that's why the Kaisers are so good, because the Kaisers also give way more attack power too. They give the most HP and attack power in the entire game. But in the case of Anubis, she works just like Mana Garmer. Up to, well, I won't even say up to because it depends on her break limits. But you get a raw 80% in elemental attack for dark. Mana Garmer would do that for light. For every dark Idolin you have in your sub slots, not your main, you get extra elemental attack on top of it. With no stars, it will add up to 100 because you'll get up to 4% for each one, which is 20% total. When you fully break her, if you happen to get her that many times, it will be 120%. In which case, it is roughly 8 per Idolin, which really racks up. But yes, Anubis is finally going to be in the game. We're going to officially have the 100% Idolins for every element. So if you are a new player, now is pretty much going to be the best time to reroll. Just wait until this event starts and then start redoing your account until you get one of these. You have 6 to 100% Idolins to actually go after. And we're going to get more later. But it's going to be interesting when they show up because they'll work just like Mana Garmer and Anubis, but they'll give more than what the previous ones did if you do it right. But also, Chernobog's coming for Darkness. She's an SSR Kamihime. I really don't know everything she does, but what I can say for the right off the bat, she is considered a core Kamihime. So that's a second core Kamihime we just recently gotten. So for Darkness users or people that main it, she's definitely the one to go after. So that said, you probably do want to attempt to go after her. If you've been saving up jewels and tickets and all that, who knows? But the thing is, too, when it comes to the rate ups, we haven't gotten the increase that DMM's gotten. So we're still stuck at 6. like times 6 increase, they had times 15 for the rates. Now, it sounds pretty much like a large difference on paper, but when you really factor it in, the SSR pool is split between all of them. And it's not an even split for sure, because the Kaiser, Dragoons, and the 100% Adolans definitely have the lowest rates. But, assuming that it is an even split, you have 1.5% chance of an SSR Kamihime, 1.5% chance of an SSR Adolan. And then that's split between however many's in the pool. We're getting close to 60 SSR Kamihime. So that 1.5% is split between almost 60 characters. That is far less than a percent to get each one. So if you're going for a specific character, your rates are pretty low. If you're just trying to see an SSR appear, then you got a decent chance. But just know that it's still better to go for the rate up than no rate at all, because your only other way to even get anything like that specifically would be to pretty much get the miracle tickets. And unfortunately, we can't do that for certain other ones. But that's the whole thing with that. Anyways, second part of this, because I've been seeing some trouble with this one, or at least people having trouble with this one, and I haven't even tried it yet. So I'd like to know what I'm going into, because I'm looking at this page completely blind. But from what I can tell, you have someone that hits the entire team and puts paralysis. Someone that gives you poison and dizzy. Someone that busts their entire enemy team and gives them regeneration, a large amount of regeneration at that. That's just the first round for this guild order. I don't really know who to go after first on that one. I mean, the recovery is annoying, especially considering the fact that it's 200,000, which is healing anywhere between 20% to even 1/3 of somebody's HP. But at the same time, it's also giving a 50% damage reduction. So it's literally cutting your damage in half. However, Dizzy might be annoying, Poison might be annoying. If they do happen to stick, at least Poison, and you're not taking that off you, you're losing about half your HP. So you really do have to be careful with that. But at the same time, paralysis is even more dangerous because it'll just stop you from moving entirely. You have to learn to kill these guys very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. Oh, and by the way, these are wind enemies, so fire element's definitely going to be the best. I might be able to try this with my fire team. They have 70% assault, but they can buff themselves up to the point where they're doing crap tons of damage. And I have a fire healer. 3 of them if I really want to rearrange it, but I don't want to go that route. But anyways, that's just a round 1. Round 2. It seems that everybody gets hit with attack and defense down. Well, no, that's attack down and combo rate down. And when I mean combo, I mean both double and triple. One can sip and remove your burst increase, and then another one does a crap ton of damage. And then it's also looking like it has a stackable buff. Even Quetzalcoatl says, do not attack the tiger normally. So it seems like if I'm reading this correctly, this seems like if you hit that tiger in the middle that has the most HP, if you hit her, she'll get a buff that will slip and increase her attack power and her defense power. And it will stack. That's not good. And the burst gauge reduction is kind of but honestly, the typical strategy I use with Guild Order, I try to fight the first round normally, and then second round I end up breaking out the burst. So I would definitely burst down a human tiger, because she's definitely going to be the damage dealer. The other two aren't too bad. Now you have the standard third round, which is the mid boss. 3 million HP is quite a bit. And then every 2 turns you'll get hit with something that will just randomly whack somebody 5 times. or randomly whack 5 people. It doesn't have any set attack rate. It just hopes somebody doesn't get hit all the time or with most of that. I really hate RNG, especially considering that on a fire team too, you don't really get too much defenders. Like, you have to go out of your way to find a defender for fire. We've been getting a lot of assault weapons. Round 4. This is where it usually gets quite dangerous because there's usually somebody that can outright kill you, and it's looking like the Gorgon in this one. Because it says random medium damage times 4. I've seen this hit this, like last one, I've seen it hit one of my Kamihime 3 times, and it nearly killed her. So that's dangerous. And another one's got an AoE hit. It might be difficult to deal with, but I don't know. And then there's also the one that every turn they fill up their orb. So like literally every 2 turns they're gonna apply a buff on everybody where they just don't take damage for the first two attacks. Keyword attacks. Because if you get a combo in, the combo will not register, period, point blank, and you don't even get a burst charge on top of this. But what it does is it prevents all damage from one person, one of their moves. So if you're doing a normal attack and they get 3 hits off, all 3 hits won't do anything. But if you say you have somebody that has 3 offensive abilities, then the first 2 won't deal damage. They still can debuff, but the third one will. So that's how that works. Anyways, we have Quetzalcoatl, who's a boss. This is probably why you might want fire, but I'm not fully sure. But the thing is, from what I'm seeing, she can increase her combo rates quite a bit. And it says she continuously buffs herself too when she's at half health, so I don't know. I can't fully read this, but it does seem like her triggers are a little bit interesting here because she can remove debuffs, making the fight much harder. She can hit you 3 times with large damage, and her raging ones is overall and debuffs your defense, so both of them are incredibly dangerous. If you really want to go with a tank, I'm not surprised. Just do not, I repeat, do not use a Thunder Team for this. So, that said, somebody taking the Gaia strategy might work. You can even do the Otohime Kushinada strategy from water if you're using R characters. Personally, Jones should be able to help you out quite a bit just to take some of these hits. But me, since I went and got Hercules' relic weapon from the catastrophe fights, and I got it twice, by the way, so I could start debuffing off of her burst. But because I got that, I'm probably going to end up using that. Because I'm naturally going to throw my light team at this period. I don't think I want to deal with this with my fire team. I might be able to, but it's kind of risky considering the fact that you get 1 attempt per day and you can't heal. Well, you can't heal from items because elixirs are banned. So yeah, that's the problem with that one. I don't want to risk it. Besides, with the HP increase just off of one Dolan, I can get most of my team past 13k HP, and a few of them can get past 14k or even 15k in the case of Soul. So yeah, and she's one of the recommended Kamihime too. We'll get to that later. I took a glimpse of that part. And they even break down how to do each fight too, so that kind of helps. But here's your missions for the first week and the second week, so you're prepared a little bit more. But naturally, you gotta challenge the guild order enough times and break through the fights enough times. But since you're trying to clear it, just clear it. Simple, if you can. Just be sure to know these things when you're trying to clear. You need 3 or more SR characters. R characters for the second week, so that's going to be dangerous. Win with your spirit alive or your soul. So if you're using, like, say, Andromeda, she's got to survive. But they're telling you to use Siegfried, and I'm hearing that it's very difficult with her. Because she kind of sucks in a long fight. And I can see why. But, you need 3 or more offensive Kamihime, which is, the attack ones. Like, for instance, I could put in Tsukiyomi, I think, yeah, Tsukiyomi, Artemis would be one. If I did get SSR Artemis, probably her too. And then, I don't know who else is in the offensive light. I don't fully know that one. But you get the picture. And then there's also clear with 5 or more people surviving. That means you can only lose 2 people. However, if you have Andromeda and she revives somebody, that can help out with that mission. It will bring you back above the point where you need people surviving. It seems they only count it when at the end of the fight. So if 2 people are dead, you're fine. If 3 people are dead, you're not clearing that. Second week, that's where it's going to get a little bit harder because you have to clear with nobody dead. You do get to use Mordred, so that helps. However, they want all types in the formation along with 2 tricky types. So if you are trying to get both missions at once, you need 2 tricky type, 1 attack, 1 balance, 1 defense, and 1 healer. And honestly, with the fire teams, there's a lot of attack Kamihime, so good luck. But that's the whole thing with that. That's where you also get the R characters. Clearing in 15 turns, I don't know if you have to do 15 turns altogether or 15 turns per round. But either way, I know I sure as hell can't do that. I'm not that strong. That's probably reserved for people that's got like a crap ton of accessories and max well, I almost got max weapon skills for everything, which is skill level 20 until they start getting us some more final break stuff. But stuff like that, access to 100% at Dolan's, all that crazy stuff. You need to be stupidly strong in order to get that one. Good luck. And then you also have to clear certain fights multiple times. This is why you could probably still get some more Childcom, because you can do some of these missions. For instance, it says challenge 5 times, beat up to battle 4 3 times. Those you don't have to clear the quest for. That's 4 points right there. Then on the first week, you also have challenge 3 times, clear certain quests up to a certain point. So, that said, you can get 9 of these missions. Now, if you're capable of doing 1 more, which is usually to clear with the spirit alive, or clear with the soul alive, then you can get 1 or Childcom, at least. So, that's why I say do as best you can in Guild Order anyways. You never know. You never know. But anyways, to really break these fights down, because they do this right here. It says paralysis can't be prevented. So, be really careful of that. Defense and region disappears over time, so it's going to last for a while. Build up your burst gauge and all that. It clearly says that. That's the first thing you should do. Now, the second fight, they say that the burst gauge getting shaved off. Oh, and it says it locks your buffs. Or it says buff while unlocking. It says removes your buffs, I guess. Now, you can get a continuous buff. The tiger can get a continuous buff, and it will start getting really dangerous. It says even if you lower the attack power, it can be around 2,000. I'm assuming that's 50% attack down. So that's a problem. But the thing is, it's clearly saying that the burst gauge reduction is a big threat. So if you want to be honest, I would probably just try to full burst right here. The third one, it's the same typical stuff. It's like, okay, you might get randomly nuked, and somebody could possibly die. It's the same thing as the previous ones, from what I can tell, because they always seem to have that on Battle 3. Battle 4 is where it gets really tough, because combo rate up can go on everybody. There's an AoE hit for everybody for the one enemy that can also put 2 invalidations. But the Gorgon is dangerous because it can hit you very hard, and sometimes the same person. Be very careful with that. Now, Quetzalcoatl is the one that I've heard people had trouble with. So apparently, a lot of people I know have gotten to Battle 5. But she can like the first action she does is increase her combo rate, and the second time she will do it is when her HP is cut in half. Combo rate is very, very dangerous because wind enemies and even wind Kamihime tend to have a very high combo rate. I'm pretty sure that buff will nearly guarantee that you get whacked at least twice every time she attacks. So that is dangerous. Normal charge, of course, I mentioned she can hit you 3 times randomly. Raging charge, everybody gets hit pretty hard, along with a defense drop. So that is very, very dangerous. And if she gets dizzied, you have to, if she gets dizzy, she'll remove all her debuffs. So that seems to be a trigger. Now that said, you might be able to use that to your advantage and bypass a raging nuke. But who knows? But that's a dangerous thing to know. If she gets dizzy, she will remove debuffs. That means you can't get away with getting her to pass turns unless you paralysis on her. But unfortunately, Thunder is very weak. Your only paralysis is probably Darkness, which from by lore. Good luck. But definitely seems like the combo rate is the most dangerous thing about her because she'll really start weakening you off of that. So you definitely want characters that can remove buffs, and you definitely want characters that can remove debuffs. So good luck. So when you do all this, keep those things in mind. But definitely that Raging Charge easily looks like one of the worst things to deal with too, because you can get hit pretty hard and then get your defense lowered. Meaning that if you can't remove that, the next time you're hit, you're probably dead. No matter how much HP you've recovered. But the triggers don't look too bad. It's just annoying. Definitely the normal and Raging Charges are the ones to deal with the most. But it even says clear as day here, when you're doing the missions, Mordred's not too bad. Because she can help with debuffs and all that. However, Mordred can cause dizzy. So, if that lands, you're going to have a problem. Siegfried, however, she's more based on trying to reduce the raging gauge and nuke an enemy and stun. For pretty much a fight where you got to build the boss up to raging, she's pretty much useless. What can you do? But hey, she's probably still better than Solomon. And then they also give recommendations for characters. I can even explain why. Nurgle comes with a debuff, and then she's got something that helps reduce the damage she takes. So that helps. Konohana Sakuya, she can heal, but she's got Sniper Shot. Basically, it's just a 10-turn version. Brunhilde, buff attack power, buff combo rate, can heal everybody. Hephaestus can debuff and can buff, I do believe. I think she's ability damage buff, and then she's a defense debuffer. A better one than Nurgle. Raguel can attack debuff. That's something to know. Amon, I've heard somebody mention that they need some protection against statuses and all that. Here's the thing. Amon has an ability where she will guarantee that the next debuff will not land on you. She's nearly free. I say nearly because of the fact that you still have to go out and get her. She's after you clear chapter 1 of the storyline, but that's not too hard. But she's very good, honestly. Like, Amon's underrated for that reason. Kagasuchi, I don't know. It says she got cumulative buffs. So, Kishar, she's able to get some protection. And honestly, if you have Fire Eligos, she's also pretty good too for a defensive aspect. Quite frankly, if you have Fire Mephistopheles, she's a very good R1 if you can get her stuff to land. Because assuming she does land all her major debuffs, that is minus 40% damage. Like minus 40% in attack power and minus 40% defense. Because she'll give a fire resistance debuff, she'll give a wind attribute debuff, she'll also give a defense one and an attack one. So that's why it's all pretty good for that one. Now then, SSR, you already know the drill. Amaterasu, Mars, I'm not sure who this Shuzu is. I gotta look at him. Enma, she's a very good one too, honestly. They suggest having Soul as well, if you got her awakened. She can remove 2 debuffs anyway when she heals, so that's a very good one to know. But you want to make sure she got some debuff tolerance too, which is some resistance. One that they don't have on here, Sevarog. Sevarog, stackable attack buff. And she hits pretty hard. If you have her awakened like I do, she's amazingly good. Because that stackable attack buff is 40%. And it can get added with other stuff. As far as I know, there's no limit on how much you can buff. Well, no hard limit, I should say. There's a soft limit, but it's like way high up there, like 100% or something like that. But like it'll combine pretty well with other moves. So as the fight goes on, you'll just get hit harder and harder, especially if you got pride weapons. I've got 2 of them that I can stick in my fire team at 125. But yeah, that's the thing with that. And then on top of that, every 3 turns, she can increase her ability damage by 100% or just simply flat out nuke with her ability that hits pretty hard and does it 3 times. So honestly, I might give this a crack with my fire team, but I don't know how well I'll go with them. Be quite honest, I'd have to make sure I have Amaterasu in the team. So yeah. But that's the whole thing with that one. And I could probably spare a slot. But then again, Daki's my defensive one, so I don't know. I'd have to plan it out a little bit, because I'd have to have Amaterasu, I'd have to have Daki, definitely have to have Sevarog. And I had Hephaestus in there for debuffing and all that too. So, yeah. This could be a little bit tricky. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. This is a little double thing that I had to do because I know a lot of people's been having a little bit of trouble with Guild Order. And then on top of that too, we have a new event coming out. So I'll put times down there. I really should have said this in the very beginning of the video. But there's times down there if you want to go back and double check each part. So, that's all I got for this video, guys. More Kamihime projects going to come pretty soon because I do believe I'm at the point where I can solo the Light Catastrophe. I don't know. It's still a little bit RNG based. But I've gone through fights where I've gotten her nearly killed. But I'm like on my last legs with like one person remaining and the next hit would kill me. So I had to have somebody else finish it off or something so I don't have to use an elixir. But I'm getting near the point where I can probably solo the Light Catastrophe. That's saying something. Even then, I know I can probably kill Guild Order bosses with my light team, provided I do it correctly. But anyways, that's all I got for this video, guys. More of this going to come soon. And I'm also going to try and get some other stuff out there too for this game, because I know I still had a few guides I had to go through, like the accessory one. But that said, expect some more stuff for sure. Even some stuff you might not even think I would do. But anyways, that's all for now, guys. Take care.